First and foremost, stage one. Stage one is when you get in bed and you kind of start to drift off. It's where your brain is making alpha and theta waves. And so those waves in your brain are still pretty alert. Those are the waves that you're using during the day to process information and to make decisions and that sort of thing. So you're kind of in a twilight sleep. This is where most people go when they cat nap and they lay down for 20 minutes or whatever. They stay in this stage one of light sleep. And sometimes you stay in it longer. Like if you're a light sleeper, it's most likely that you're woken up by a noise or something because you're still in your stage one of sleep. It lasts about 5 to 7 minutes. And then at that time, your body should trigger itself to go into stage two. And so hopefully you should be able to make the progress into each of these stages without being interrupted. That's ideal. We know that's not realistic. I have kids, I have pets. I have a husband who was snoring last night and driving me crazy. So, it doesn't always happen that you easily go from stage to stage, but this is an ideal that you were to hit these 4 stages in this succession. So after 7 minutes, you would transition into stage 2. So in stage 2, your brain goes from making these alpha and theta waves into making these spindle waves. And these spindle waves are important because that really allows your brain waves to slow themselves down. So the goal of them is that we're actually working into more delta waves. And delta waves are these really deep, slow waves where your body's repair and your body's repair mechanisms, your body's, what's the word I'm looking for? See, I didn't sleep last night very well. Regeneration. Your body can repair and regenerate itself depending on the brain waves. That's the trigger that you're trying to get into. So you go through the second stage of sleep, your brain waves start to change, your breathing slows down, your heart rate slows down. It's going to be a lot harder to wake you up when you're in this stage. So you'll find, like, if you have teenagers and you try to wake them up, if they're in this stage, they're like dead to the world. You cannot even move them. And you're just like, oh my God. Teenagers spend a lot of time in this stage sleeping, which is really great because it's triggering their body's ability to grow. And to repair themselves and to do what they need to do so that the brain can grow. So that's just kind of a funny thing. If you get frustrated because you're waking your kid and they won't wake up, that's where they're in. So from stage 2, then you go into your stage 3. Your stage 3 is your really great restorative deep sleep. These are your delta waves. This is when, like, you have sleep paralysis. You just cannot move. Your body is just in full rest and repair mode. So your body is busy doing what it needs to do, but you just feel, like a wood board is on top of you. Typically, if you wake up during this time, this is when you feel that sense of sleep paralysis that you can't move. Ideally, you sleep right through this and your body is able to repair your heart and your muscles and build new tissue. And this is when your brain is triggered to start cleaning itself. So this then works from stage 3 into stage 4. Stage 4 is your REM cycles. You hear people talk about their rapid eye movement, REM. This is when the brain is doing its hard work. So the transition from 3 to 4 is super important. And so when you go into 4, into your REM cycle, it's when you dream. So you've gone through these other 3 stages to get to the dream state. And the reason why you're in this dream state is because your brain is actually categorizing and storing memories and information and things that you've dealt with during the day. And sometimes when that happens, it triggers other things that might be attached to those neurons. So like your brain will be, filtering information and storing things. And then you'll have a dream about somebody that was connected to something that happened to you during the day, that kind of thing. So the brain is really active, really, really active during the REM cycle. And it's really important that the brain gets these REM cycles. So typically they last up to an hour. If you're tracking your sleep, you'll see that your REM cycle is anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour. Obviously, the longer the REM cycle, the better off for your brain. And average adults get between 5 and 6 REM cycles in a night. So that's your goal. You want to, at minimum, have 5 REM cycles in a 7 to 8 hour window. If you can get an extra one, sometimes that happens. Like you'll wake up in the middle of the night and then you'll fall back asleep in the early morning and you'll have weird dreams, or you'll wake up and you'll be just kind of what's the word, discombobulated. You'll just feel like hazy, and you just feel off. And that's because you've just now had another REM cycle, and you've either woken up in the middle of it or you've woken up right at the very end of it. So let's see. It's really, really imperative that your body hits these REM cycles. A lot of Alzheimer's studies, Parkinson's studies, neurodegenerative studies show that patients who suffer from these brain diseases don't get adequate levels of REM sleep. They don't get enough cycles. They don't get long enough cycles. And then that really impairs the brain's ability to function. So think of these sleep cycles as something that you really want to guard. So if that means removing a pet off your bed and putting them in a different room, if that means, making a bed on your floor for your kids, so if they have a bad dream, they can come in and lay down and not wake you up. We're going to talk about the sleep sanctuary next. If it means making sure that light doesn't wake you up or noises don't wake you up, it's really important that you prioritize getting these stages of sleep for not only your body's ability to rest and restore itself, but for your brain health.